We know this problem is serious in South Africa, and it's one of those crimes that happen all over the country, almost in every community. How serious is it, and what are the numbers looking at the moment?
Yeah, Ben, the problem is very serious. We talk about it being a problem to South Africa, but actually it's a problem worldwide. Globally, utilities are battling with this problem. Some people might be thinking it's a third world country type of problem, but everywhere else you go in the world, people are actually battling with this issue. So in South Africa, the last counts we did in terms of the amount of money, if I can just call it that, that we're losing as utilities, I'm talking about Eskom and municipalities. We are looking at close to about 5 billion rands that we are losing on a yearly basis.
Yeah.
And then previously it used to be, people used to think it's just a problem that is sitting in informal settlements where people illegally connect themselves to the grid.
Yeah.
But when you look at it, it's actually much bigger than just the few lines that you're seeing across the informal settlements. You look at businesses, you look at formal settlements. You also find people bypassing or tampering with their meters. So it's a problem that is actually across the board. But I think the biggest issue for me is when you get to the informal settlements. The problem is not only just about now the amount of money that the utility or the municipalities are using. You also start to look at problems around safety. You lose children, you lose people because of this. So that's why I think many times when people talk about electricity theft or illegal connections, they are only looking at informal settlements.
I want to talk about South Africa, because in South Africa it's been given that face, that it's only people in informal settlements that steal electricity. Do we have in industry and in the leafy suburbs, do we have that problem as well? And how does it manifest itself, and how do you police it in South Africa?
Precisely, like I mentioned already, this problem is across all our customer categories. You go to the business, people who are running their own businesses, you find that it's not the illegal connection that you will see. It's the meter that has been tampered with so that it actually registers less than it's supposed to be registered. And so if the company is supposed to be paying 1 million rands worth of electricity, if they've tampered with their meter so that it reads slower, then they end up paying, say, 500,000 instead of 1 million. So that it's a big problem that we actually find in those type of environments. So you're not seeing an illegal connection.
Really,
the meter is being tampered with so that the people don't pay what they're supposed to be paying to the utilities.
It's a real hard cost that you then incur. But I wanted to ask, we have service delivery protests in South Africa almost daily. I want to talk about the consumer and what kind of person protests on the one side but don't want to pay for a basic service like electricity in this case. How do you approach that problem?
The problem is twofold. When you look at it global, generally, you'll say this is what I'll call a crime of need on one side and a crime of greed on the other side. So when you start to look at people who actually needs the service, so you then treat them differently. You don't say people are connecting illegally because they need to be electrified. So how do you then make sure that you actually speed up processes to make sure that you actually electrify them in time? The problem is sometimes you actually find that they are in areas which cannot be given services because they are not settlements that are actually legal. So you need to then make sure that we work with the municipalities to push that we actually get people to be in the areas where we can actually give them services, both from electricity and other type of services that municipalities will be giving.
That's the way forward, as you say. What is your message then to people who are guilty of electricity theft right now, and those people that maybe know of that?
I think the message to South Africans in general is that electricity theft is a problem that affects everybody. We might be thinking it doesn't affect me, but it actually affects all of us. So the big message is to say, South Africans, please, when you see somebody either illegally connecting themselves or bypassing their meter, tampering the meter, tell the utility, be it Eskom or the municipalities, tell them so that we can actually deal with that issue. In the past, people you used to think that you cannot be prosecuted for electricity theft. Now we've actually started processes where we're actually going to be prosecuting people. We're not just going to be disconnecting you and giving you a fine. We'll also be taking you through to the processes, the court processes.
Well, stepping up the fight against electricity theft. Thank you very much for joining us today. That's the Senior Manager for Energy Trading and Sales Forecasting at Eskom Maboe Maphaka, who joined us to talk all things electricity theft this morning. Thank you once again.
Thank you, Jeben.